All right. Welcome to CRL, everyone. This is Chart Request Live. I am Spencer Israel. This other guy is Patrick Donawilla, editor of the Chart Report. You know the drill by now. You give us the requests. We give you the charts. If you have a request for the show, you can either drop it in the chat or email us questions at stockmarketmedia.com. We go through the inbox first, then we go through the chat. Pat, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, let's go. Let's start us off with, where should I start? Let's start with this question that just came in from Hanson. CNQ on a 6-month time frame. Canadian Natural Resources.
Yeah, this is a popular one. A lot of these Canadian stocks, we covered that the other week. Canadian Natural Resources, Canadian Pacific, and then there's one more too. I think. Yeah, I'm blanking on it, but
yeah,
a lot of these Canadian names. This one,
Canada's hot.
Yeah. So this one breaking out of this really like 2 years sideways consolidation here. It took forever. I mean, it looked like it was setting up so many times, and it's finally going now. Let me just put this in a little clearer view. But that's your clear level here, 70. If it's above there, then you could fib it out for a price target. But we'll also zoom out and see if there's any. I think that's an all-time high.
I don't know. I think yeah.
There we go. Yeah. I mean,
that's tough.
Yeah. So you could even call this an ascending triangle here. And I like that it's happening above those former highs there. Oops. What are we doing here? Yeah, really like that ascending triangle type price action. And again, that's a horizontal resistance level and a diagonal trend line there, kind of showing that buyers are getting more and more aggressive each time. And again, it's happening above this, call it 53 level. So that's constructive to see a consolidation happening above that. But I think you want to look to 86, 87 for your price target here, as long as it's above 70.
Looks good. Looks clean. All right.
Clean.
Here's a question from, I think it was Eric who asked about Nuvent NVT, Nvent and Invent Electronics. This is a $11 billion electrical equipment company, also making all-time highs here.
Yeah, so this is one that has shown up on the buzz a couple times.
Yes, it has.
It's definitely a popular one, or at least gaining some popularity here. You can see it hit our kind of first price target here after it broke out earlier this year. And I think as long as it's above this 67 fib, you got to be looking towards 80 for the next one. But so far, I mean, beautiful, nice, uninterrupted uptrend here. So, you got to err on the side of higher prices here. And this is a daily chart too. So the breakout really just started happening this year. But really looks like a really strong one here. I don't know too much about the company or anything else beyond that, but we can kind of fib this out here and see if that aligns with anything too. Not too much. I mean, yeah, not too much. But yeah, looking at 80 as your next target. Not bad.
Okay. We got 80 is not that far away. No, we're at 70. We're at 70 right now. All right. A couple more and then we'll go to the chat. Gerbier asking it I think we have two interesting questions here. Gerbier's question is, he's looking for levels on Tesla. Oh. He wants to buy Tesla for the long term. So he's looking for like a long term planting his flag in the sand on Tesla here. That's an interesting question, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure he's not the only one asking that right now. It's an important question to be asking. So it's testing a pretty important level right now, or at least coming into a really important level here, down at 160, all the way down to 150. So really important that it holds 150. I wouldn't even be looking for an entry if it can't hold 150 until it gets down to like 110, 100, because this thing's just been kind of slowly losing momentum here. And yes, it's been a leader for years, but you don't want to rely too much on what's worked. If it can't hold this 150 level, really no reason to own it or get involved until, yeah, down here, like the one teens basically. And you can see this was kind of an important level in the past here, back in 2020 here. Again, acted as support in 2023. So we'll see how it behaves at that 150 level. If not, you're looking down to the lower 100 teens area. And yeah, beyond that, it gets really even uglier, like pre-COVID highs down to double digits here.
I would just remind everyone that really, with the exception of 2020 and 2021, the stock has a very checkered history.
Yeah.
Right. It had
absolutely.
It had two of the best years any stock has had ever. And if you take those, I mean, if you just disregard that for a moment, and you look at what it's done every other year, not great, not great.
Yeah, and it's one of those that sits around for years and then all of a sudden will make its move in like 2 months. And so if you're not owning it then, so I get why he wants to be involved, because it really, every time it does make that move, you're always thinking, man, I should have bought Tesla when it was, $100 or whatever it is.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I've been there. We've all been there.
Absolutely.
Okay. And this
does kind of look like it's kind of rolling over here. I don't want to call it a top yet, but I would be a lot more comfortable calling it a top if it can't hold 100.
Sure.
That's an important psychological level too. A big mega cap that a lot of people are used to putting in orders at. If all of a sudden they're not putting in orders at triple digits anymore, it might sound silly, but it means something.
It does, psychological. And this is a nice open-ended question from Wavy here. Wavy wants to express a long China, short Japan trade for the rest of the year. How would you go about that?
And Wavy's asking the tough questions. You know what? I've actually thought about this. Like,
yeah, I have some ideas.
So how would you do it? I mean, obviously the two big ones, you have FXI and I guess you could do DXJ.
Well, DXJ is the one that's probably, if you're looking to short a high flyer, DXJ is the high flyer. EWJ is not.
Right. DXJ is the currency hedged, right?
Right, exactly. DXJ is the currency hedge. So I would start there. You look at what's in DXJ. Toyota Motors is in there. Toyota just had a kind of blow off toppy thing happen to them.
Yeah.
Last couple weeks, or the last week or so. But I would start there, right? DXJ is the high beta Japan play.
Right. Look at this. EWJ didn't even break out.
I know.
Oh man.
So I feel like you would want the high beta play here. So DXJ on the short side, and on the long side, like KWeb, right?
Yeah, KWeb. Yeah. I mean, we could look at both. Let's look at FXI first. A little less beta on this one. So let's look at RSI here. Yeah, RSI is weakening a little, but still pretty bullish here. Might be getting cute. We'll see. But I see
this is definitely getting cute.
Yeah, this is the definition of cute. But I see where his head's at. I mean, China looks really bottomy here, and Japan. I wouldn't be looking to short Japan here. I get it. I mean, it's here we are breaking out to multi-decade highs, but that's tough to short that. So
maybe trying to find a couple of stocks that are in the same industry group or sector, and pair those together. Like you throw on like a. I'm thinking.
But I think this would be your best bet, right? Like go long KWeb and like short DXJ if you really want to do that.
Like a 10-cent Nintendo pairs trade, but it's not quite apples to apples.
Right. And you're dealing with two ADRs there, so it's tough.
Yeah, and there's no real automakers in China. Japan has Toyota, they have Honda. They have those those trading companies like that Mitsubishi. There's a bunch of those that Berkshire owns. That Mitsubishi company, you can get was
that MUFG or something?
Yeah, and the biggest equivalent to that would be like a 10 cent in China.
Right, but this isn't a chart that I want to short here. This is just breaking out. So
Yeah, no,
it's
I
tough.
know.
That's tough. But I
Yeah.
think that would probably be your best bet, Wavy. And you're asking the right questions. You really are. And so I would say KWeb DXJ, you got this little momentum divergence here in favor of KWeb. So I'd be looking to play that back to last year's highs there. But man, Wavy, if you put this trade on, more power to you. Godspeed.
Holler at us too. And there's
Yeah,
also like
yeah.
a bunch of like yen based ETFs out there, but
Really?
yeah, there's a few. There's one from ProShares, one from Franklin, but uh if we're talking currencies, I would rather get Ian's opinion on that
Yeah, right, right,
than do it ourselves.
right.
But a very interesting question nonetheless.
Yeah,
I that
and for those who don't know, this is kind of why we're saying Japan's so interesting here. The Japan asset bubble popped right at the turn of the decade in between the 80s and the 90s, right? And like I think it was like the first week of 1990 or like the last week of 1989. So it
yeah.
makes talking about it kind of difficult, but here we are kind of struggling to hold these former highs here. It's only been a week or so, but not the greatest action. We'll see if it can hold those highs. But if this massive breakout fails, I could see why somebody would want to short it. But it hasn't quite happened yet. It's kind of flirting with those former highs, and so we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Nicholas Trades is looking at Snowflake for the long-term portfolio. Let's take a look at how Snowflake has behaved after its earnings report here.
Lots
Okay,
of
it's
long-term
continued.
shoppers here.
Yeah, this is why, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he, people see things go down and they think, oh, it's on sale, which
Yes.
sometimes is true, and
Sometimes it's true, but
sometimes it's not.
I will remind you of the quote from yesterday's chart of the day or quote yesterday's chart report,
Yeah,
which was a quote from Howard Marks. And I always thought this was funny about economics is, normally prices go up and we should want less of it, right? That's economics 101.
yep,
But in investing, it's very different. When prices go up, oftentimes people want more of it. And so that's kind of where technical analysis comes in to kind of fill that gap between what's something's intrinsic value should be and what the market's actually treating it. So little spiel there.
I do agree that if you are looking at stocks that are going down, then um then you should probably be doing that for your long-term portfolio. You don't want to be putting trades on in stocks that are in down. Like you don't
That's
want to be
fair. I
going
mean,
long.
momentum works best in
Right,
short term, right? Shorter term
right.
time frame.
Like
So
if you're trying to go along a stock that's in a prolonged downtrend, it better be a stock that you're prepared to hold for a long time. Because
right.
if it's not, you're
Or
you're
like you're
asking
saying, like if you're buying a long-term position on a breakout, right?
or that too, right? But
Right.
really, what I'm saying is, if you see a stock in a downtrend and you want to buy it, you better be prepared to hold it for a while, right?
Yeah.
Because you know something
Or or
falling knives.
you can buy it as an like FXI, right? You can buy it as an investment, but kind of treat it as a trade if it doesn't respect a risk level. So
That's true. That's
you can
true.
look at something like FXI and say, "Ooh, I want this for the long term." It's kind of at a key level, still in a downtrend. You buy it, and then you put a close stop. Now you might get stopped out next week, and that doesn't feel like a long-term investment. But if it starts working in your favor, you could just ride that thing for a while.
That's
So,
true. So you can have a stop with respect to price or with respect to time. I can't tell you
right.
how many times I've seen people say, "Oh, I bought this stock for the long term a year ago, and now I don't know what to do." A year is not a long time. Like if you
Right.
can't even make it 12 months, then your thesis has problems, man.
Yeah, it's barely
So
past the
right,
tax holding period that would
right,
state
exactly.
that. Yeah.
So anyway, wait, what was the question? Snowflake.
Snowflake. So this is, I'd say, a pretty valid trend line here that we're coming into. I think you want to see it hold that. If it doesn't, I wouldn't even be looking at this one. But Might be a decent place to take a nibble here around 150. Again, a pretty important psychological level. So I would maybe put it in order there if I wanted to get into this one, and maybe a stop right around 138 here, these former lows from October. If it can't hold those October lows, man, there's something wrong with this stock because you have just about every other stock out there ripping. And if this thing can't hold its October lows, that's a problem. But I get it. If you want to be in it, that's, you know, yeah.
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 Not at least a level to lean on, right? 'Cause
Right.
that's all you can ask. That's all you can ask for is a level to lean on.
Yeah.
Okay. Adam Lake is asking about some altcoins he's been buying, but this idea really applies. It can apply to anything. So why don't you just pull up Solana? Okay.
Yeah.
Adam's been dollar cost averaging into Solana and another of other cryptos for it says since 2022. So obviously he's done very well for himself. But now it's a question.
Yeah.
Now it's a question of what do you do? And this is why I think
management,
dealing with winners is way harder, at least for me personally, than it is to deal with losers. Dealing with losers, it's easy. You can just rip the Band-Aid off and be done with it. Dealing with winners, you're dealing with so much potential regret down the line.
Yeah.
Right. So
absolutely.
how do you approach a big winner such as this?
Yeah, this is a great one. So, you can see I already kind of marked it up here. We'll put it in a daily here too. So the breakout's on, really nice textbook breakout here, as long as it's above 140. So at this point, you want to kind of keep moving your stop up as the trade starts working in your favor. So finding a reference point, without knowing where his cost basis is, finding some sort of reference point and saying, okay, if it's below these January lows, then we'll stop out either a hard stop or a mental stop, or setting an alert on your trading system. But yeah, that's what you want to do. Find some sort of local high or local low and say, if it can't hold this, then I'm out.
Partially out. Partially
right,
out.
partially
right.
out, yeah.
Right.
And you can kind of take profits along the way. Like if this thing doubled for you, you could move your stop up to break even and then keep the rest on to run. And if you sold half there too, so you sell half, move your stop to break even, that's a risk-free trade. You theoretically can't lose on it unless you get some sort of massive slippage on the on your stop out. But this one is, in terms of just Solana here, I think it's I don't want to say it's for sure, but it really looks like it wants to go back to those former highs. A lot of the times those significant levels like that will act as a magnet. Who knows if it'll break through when it gets there, but it looks like it wants to at least test those highs here. So in kind of each milestone it hits, right, then you can kind of readjust your stop and kind of manage your risk that way.
And this is why I personally am not a crypto trader because the beta is just so damn high. I wouldn't even know. Like I would have to set a rule for myself that based on percentages. It's the only way I'd be able to survive. Right.
And 20% drawdowns are nothing for
it's normal. It's normal.
That's normal. Yeah. We're talking 30, 40, 50% drawdowns.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Adam, man, congrats on the gains. Now these are your consequences. They're good problems to have. They're good problems to have, but a problem nonetheless.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this one a lot, though. Solana's one of the stronger ones.
Jason's asking about UEC, uranium. I own a uranium stock. It's not this one, but oh, ouch.
So a lot of these uranium ones, they're a lot of them are getting rejected. That was the trade for a while. And it was even when the rest of the market wasn't working, uranium was working. So maybe now that everything's working, people are taking some profits from there, or the breakout's just clearly not working so far. We can look at URA. It's kind of a broader thing. It's not just UEC. This looked like a textbook base here, and it's not working. Here we are struggling to even hold this level. We'll see if that holds. If it doesn't, then forget about uranium for a while. But back to UEC. and this is one of the bigger components in URA. It's not the biggest, I don't think, but it's a big one. So yeah, it's tough. It's getting rejected here. I would use, I mean, if you're not already out of this one, I would use this call it 585 as a stop point. If it can't hold there, then get out of that one. I don't really see a reason to own it at all until it reclaims those former highs. This to me looks very fail breakout-ish. And as they say, failed moves are followed by fast moves in the opposite direction. So, and we've seen that time and time again. So I think you want to be really careful with uranium stocks here. They were working. They were one of the only things working for the longest time. And now they're not when everything else is. So just something to be aware of. Just kind of keep an eye on those.
Okay, Shay EG is looking for a fib on MMYT, MakeMyTrip. These damn Indian tech stocks, man.
There you go. You have it right there. We already have it.
They can't stop. Whoa, my God, we're there.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And Spencer, you remember this one showed up on the buzz a while ago.
I remember.
It's been one people were talking about. Now it took forever to get the breakout because it's such a massive base. Here's what we're dealing with. I had to flip this into a monthly to really show you what's going on here. But yeah, for the past decade, longer than that, really, this thing has struggled to clear 40. Every time it's gotten up there, it's just gotten swatted down. And finally, last year, basically when the whole market started taking off, this one finally got the breakout. And here we are 4 months later, hitting the first target here. Sorry, let me get this label out of the way. But yeah, looks like around 60 there. 62 is your first target. If it's above there, now I would expect some chop here for a little bit. You know, you probably get it. This is really strong. No reason to like short it or anything like that. But I would be taking some profits off the table. Maybe moving your stop up to break even too if you got long at the breakout. And now you're looking for 94, 95 as your next target, this pink fib up here. But man, this one, yeah, looks great. And if you've been holding since the breakout, well done. Very nice breakout.
Well, I guess when stock keeps going up, you just have to draw more fib lines. Is the answer. Go further down the sequence. Okay.
Exactly.
Good
and
question
check
here.
this out. So this is weekly RSI down here. No divergence at all. You know, it's rare to see RSI so strong like that and still not diverging like that. So this is really, really healthy. I think there's a good chance that it does make it to that next fib.
All right.
And again, we're dealing with a decade-long base breakout. We've seen it time and time again with some of these semis. When they finally resolve out of that base, it can take a lot of starts and stops before they finally work. But once they are finally working, it can be hard to get into them because they just kind of drift up and never really correct. So
hasn't India just been on fire lately? Like the Indian small caps have been quite nice. So
I haven't been looking at it too close, but I remember the India ETF for a while there was looking really good. Is it? It's not.
Yeah.
Is it?
Is it INDA?
INDA.
Yeah.
INDI? No. INDA. Yeah.
INDA.
Yeah. There we go. Here we are. Okay. We're retesting here, but
nice. Yeah.
Breakout's still intact. Yeah.
Okay, Yako wants to know where Hood is topping out. How's this for you, Pat? I kind of wanted to take a nibble on Robinhood here. I was thinking down at 16, down in the 16 area. I might take a flyer on that.
Yeah. So this one breakout's on. You might want to, Spence, are you able to check out short interest on this one?
Yes, I can. It's probably not low. I don't think it's skyrocketed. Let's see what I got here in terms of short float. 5% of the float is sold short. So that's
wow, I would have thought way higher.
Huh. It's actually lower than I thought. Let me see if I can get the days to cover real fast. I probably can.
So maybe short isn't a tailwind on this one, but breakout's on. I think if you want to get involved in this one, looking to buy a pullback to 16 would probably be your best bet. Here we are, we gapped higher today, so who knows if it'll actually do that. Gapping like that, that's a sign of a lot of strength. I know that's pretty obvious, but a lot of the times when something's just gapping higher like that, it might not give you a chance to get that pullback. So 16, if you want to be a little more patient, waiting for a pullback to 1350, I doubt you'll get that one. But if you really want to get into this one, 16 is probably your level. If it can't hold 1550, no reason to own it. If it can't hold 1550, then you're looking at 13 as the next entry.
Yeah, actually, days to cover is like 2, so it's not. This is not a highly shorted stock.
That's surprising. I would have thought this one would be more shorted.
Well, part of it is the volume. This thing trades 15 million shares a day, which is pretty good. It's traded 36 million shares today.
Wow.
But they had news last night, so that's why.
What was the news?
So, they gave some February month-end stats. Assets under management, trading volume, that whole thing.
Now that crypto's taking off again, and just the market in general, I think Robinhood might get a second look here. I imagine that every Robinhood portfolio, not every one, but a majority, was probably underwater for the last 2 years, and then all of a sudden people might be seeing green again for the first time. So, and not to make fun of them, I think we all learned that lesson the hard way, but. Yeah, I mean, things are finally starting to work again. Anybody who bought crypto back in 2021 at the peak is now making money again. So we'll see. I mean, this one is definitely back in play. I would be looking for 34, 35 as a target here. That's the IPO lows. And you can also see it kind of stumble along here for the breakdown. So, and that's significantly higher from here. That's a double from here. So this one looks good.
Nicholas trades. What do I use to check short interest? I actually use several different sources.
And that's the right thing to do, using several.
Right. Most of which I pay for. But there is one free source that you can check. It's just shortsqueeze.com. The data is not the most reliable. It's okay. The data's okay. It's not like horrible.
You could use Finviz, right? I mean, there's probably multiple places.
Yeah, Finviz probably has it too, actually. Yeah, they probably do. Shortsqueeze.com is free, and sometimes the data is going to be incomplete. But you get what you pay for. And if you want, you can always look at the FINRA short reporting schedule, and you look because the brokers have to report this stuff biweekly, and if you just check around those dates, it'll be the most up-to-date data.
A few years ago, TrendSpider, they had a petition, and they were petitioning, I think, FINRA or maybe the SEC
to make it like a 2 days or something.
Make the data live, actually.
Live.
It's silly that we can only check short interest every 2 weeks, because a lot of the times you want to know short interest after a big move. So,
well, there are other data sets out there. Like S3 has a very well-known data set that you can pay for that is supposedly more live.
Okay.
But
is
yeah,
your best bet, is it actually the short interest data? Are they looking at are they aggregating like brokers maybe?
It's a moving target, right? But I've heard, it's what a lot of institutions use. So it seems to be good. S3.
S3.
But the best answer is to just find multiple sources and use all of them. That's the best thing I can tell you about that.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do a couple more. I know we started a little bit late, so we'll run over. What about? Oh man. Okay. Coinbase, SoundHound, Rumble, Roblox. Pick one. Coinbase, SoundHound, Rumble, Roblox. Pick one. Okay.
Yeah, Coinbase. I think you want to be careful with Coinbase in the short term here, and I know that maybe isn't a popular opinion here because crypto's taking off and all that, but in the short term, I think this one, it's had an incredible move, and I think it's kind of in danger of a correction here. You can see kind of a nasty reversal already happening these last few days. Wouldn't be surprised for it to fall back down to 185, kind of check back at those year-to-date highs or the January highs here. And that's an ugly move. That's a 30% correction here that we're talking about. I mean, probably 20% from here. But yeah, be careful with that one. Here we are, we're coming into kind of these post-IPO lows, and you got to imagine there's probably a lot of overhead supply from those, for lack of a better word, bag holders. So, let's say Coinbase just IPO'd and you bought in, right? Initially, maybe you were making some money, but here we are, finally broke through. You've been underwater this whole time and sitting through a nasty,
Yeah.
nasty drawdown. So when it finally gets back to break even, after you've been praying, get me back, break even, I'll never make a bad trade again, finally gets there, you're getting some of that selling pressure. So, and that's not to say that this can't be cleared. Eventually, it probably will be, but it could take some time. It could be really messy to work through this whole mess here. And then I would get excited about this one again once it broke those post-IPO highs, because then everyone's making money in this stock. So we're in a tricky spot with Coinbase here. It's been incredible. I think, fundamentally longer term, not my area of expertise at all, but I could see why this one is working and why you'd want to be in this one, but kind of tricky short term from a tactical perspective. I think you want to kind of wait for a pullback and just be careful with this one. Yeah.
Okay. Romos, XBI just got smacked down, rejected.
Ooh.
Hardcore, Pat.
Yes. Yikes. Ugly. And this one,
hardcore rejection.
Hardcore rejection. Yeah. No way to sugarcoat it. That's pretty much what it is. But here we are. We're holding the breakout so far. Had a really strong week a couple weeks ago. We gave it all back, but we're retesting. So far, so good. But you really need to see it hold this. If it gets back into that range, that's just going to be ugly. So big question mark on biotech here. Needs to dig in. You have the VWAP there too. I think it's an important fib. We can look at it. I know I was looking at this the other day. There's like four different key resistant support or resistance points around there. Oh, okay. But that's kind of interesting. It kind of got up to that fib, kind of close to it, not exact, but that's kind of where it corrected here. We'll see. It really has to dig in at that level there.
Yeah. All right. I know we got a bunch more in the chat. We can't get to all of them. Let's just do one more, and we'll do for Gauge. We'll do QSR. That XBI chart has me spooked. So QSR, technically, yeah, it's probably a breakout, right, Pat? That's what
yeah.
But I'd be on the edge of my seat here because
with QSR. So QSR, this one's what? Burger King, right?
QSR is Burger King, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be on the edge of my seat just because of what we just talked about with XBI. Right?
Oh, okay, yeah, because of the breakout, yeah.
Right. The oops.
Yeah, the oops. The oops are common. So with this one, I use two different fibs here because you got this really weird candle creating some weird things. You draw it on a closing basis, so close to close, and we can make this a different color. Make that pink. So you have the close to close fib right around 107, and then you have the high to low using those intraday high and lows, and that's around 113. So here in like the 100 and teens, man, this is the second time I've used that word. I've never used that word before, but I'd be looking for a target here. The breakout's on. It is. I get why you'd be nervous for this one, but so far so good. Holding that 75 level is key. And if you missed it, maybe being a buyer anywhere between 79 and 75 would be a decent place to add on pullbacks. But so far so good. This one coming out of a really long consolidation, finally breaking those post-COVID highs. So we'll see with this one.
Unlike other shows,
they have what, Tim Hortons and something else.
Yeah, I think this is Burger King. I think it's Tim Hortons, and it might also be
Popeyes.
Popeyes. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, unlike other shows on CRL, you can have it your way because that's what the show is. You give us the request, we give you the charts. Hope we covered.
Very well said, Spencer. Very
Hope
well.
we answered your questions. If we didn't, I'm sorry. We'll be back on Tuesday, same time, same place, 1 o'clock Eastern, right here, Stock Market TV. He's Patrick. I'm Spencer. Thanks a lot for all the questions. We'll see you guys next time.
Trading well.